had a dream, like maybe 10 minutes ago or something, and and it was like in the house too. I was making music. I was listening to music too, uh, and it was like an album. It wasn't for me. It's like a gifted album or something. It was raining, and when the wind was going, I was able to fly. It's like one of those dreams, you know. You could sort of navigate around and stuff. Trying to figure out how to. Oh, it's very difficult. The yeah, the I don't know. Dream was fucking sad as shit. To be honest with you, it's one of those things that didn't feel like a dream, you know, or a nightmare. Whatever you call it. Didn't feel like I was asleep. There's a recording I made on here that was like it was saying like, you know, if somebody can get inside of your head and fuck around with that voice, they will. Yeah, sometimes I don't know. It's like I think what happens is I can sort of I don't think I'm a literal empath or something. But you know, if I read something for the most of the part, for a part of it or whatever, I can see it. Very visual. My brain is very, very visual. So, you know, I read something like I don't really want to try to read nothing like this right now. But, you know, like events, like sort of you know, like very visual. Woman splits man's head open or something like this. I'm seeing that shit for like, you know what I mean? But I don't know, maybe that's how everybody else is. That's just I think, right? So the worst ones are the ones that I don't want to see. So, but then I can sort of rework it where I can, you know, if I want to, you know, create some sort of story, or if I'm listening to music and I see a sort of a video in my head, you know, or something like this, I can do that. Very conceptual, or at least it used to be. Now it's basically just like finding something and finding some way to freak the visitor in my head out, you know, or finding something in reality and finding some piece of that to freak the viewer out to my mind, because I'm convinced I have somebody reading my thoughts. So it kind of sucks. So my brain's never had this sort of thing happen to it. You know, everything was sort of fine. You know, there's one that bothered me. It's like, I don't know how you want to say it. But yeah, I'm pretty convinced that it's like, it has something to do with how there is the mind and there is no barrier within the mind. And I treat this voice as though it's something that is not me. And I treat it, you know, I treat it like, I don't know, I treat it like an unwanted visitor, like an unwanted guest in my mind, and I will say anything to this motherfucker. Or not say, but think. I will say or think anything to it. And I've gotten into this fucking habit of doing that too. So I got into this habit of like, I'll find it for them. Or I've talked about this before, how it's their lens, you know. How we've had me and this viewer or a person that's viewing the mind or entity or people. That'd be fucking scary, huh? People that is viewing the mind. And I know their context. So I know what bothers them. So I've developed some sort of thing where I'll be like, it's sad. Actually, it's just fucking sad. I've developed this thing where I can, you know, where any simple thing, any simple normal thing gets turned in the end, and for them, you know, that's what I was saying. I track it back every time. Every time I track it back, it's because of being one. And like right now, I'm I'm thinking this, thinking, you hear this, motherfuckers? I'm talking about you or something, So it's this constant disdain, and I guess there is some sort of routine to it, and there is some habitualness to it, and there is some sort of how do you say it, it bothers me because these are my everyday thoughts. These are my everyday. These are my moments. You know what I mean? So it bothers me when all I'm doing all fucking day is trying to get this unwanted mental uh intruder out of my head or something. And then I go on here and talk about it. And I go on, so like I found whatever it's our shared weakness. It's our shared prerogative and value. This I do know, but it doesn't feel like that inside my head because I'm fighting them. It's like I can't. It's like my brain can't get out of this sort of like fighting mode. Like it can't. It's like there is an intruder in my mind, and it's like a virus with a white blood cell or something. It's like saying you're not supposed to be in here, and then I'm like trying to boot them out or something in my head. That's what it feels like. And it's all the time. And so then I take note of what they don't like. Or me too, because it doesn't fucking help me. I don't fucking like this shit here, right? And it makes me fucking disturbing and shit. So then I take note of that, and everything that I see is like, it's like used as ammunition for this intruder in my mind. And then it also goes the other way. It goes the way where, it's like, and it's so sad. It's just fucking, it's sad as shit. But, like I said, I'd be, just disappointed, I guess. I'll be disappointed if it's not me. Because then I'm just going crazy for no fucking reason. Then I'm really just beating myself for no reason. Like now, like I'm like thinking about it. They're like, don't talk about it. And I'm like, they need to know. And then they're talking to them in my head about, well, good luck in prison. And I'm like, these are the conversations that occur. Yeah, I figure that the thing is that I don't know. How does somebody even, I've tried to shatter their lens. I guess I have to keep trying or something. Like, even now. Like, just saying things, see, now I gotta be careful here. But, in my mind, I'm saying things despite them. I'm very good at it. These sort of sleight of hand, slights or whatever. Not sleight, that's too much. Slight stuff, And I think partially because that's based on the comment that they're saying to me, in my mind. Like, literally in my mind. Don't do that. Don't talk about this. All right, well, I know you people don't like this and this, so I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to make a comment in my mind that bothers you, because you're in my mind telling me not to go here with it or not to go here with it, even if it's not even about nothing crazy. So that's what goes on in my mind. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know. Sometimes I listen to these things and they don't really make sense. How I'm just like, it doesn't sound how it sounds. So, but like I said, it's like having an unwanted person in your mind, like you could call it like a little demon or something. But I know it's not spiritual. At least I don't think it is, unless the spirit can jolt me. I don't know. But yeah, there's a disconnection with it. It's not very, so it's just not very, how do you say it? Like, to me, it's developed in the sense of like, I'm at war all the time. in my mind, like with the dialogue. So, and that's the boring stuff too. That's the boring fucking shit. The stuff I like to talk about is not that. I tell you that. Stuff that I like is the Congress, making sure that it gets done. I don't know how, but finding some sort of like method of public and governmental will to sort of break free from these sort of these lobbying chains and all the other issues with the Congress. I don't have Chat GPT, or I don't feel like going on Chat GPT right now, to be honest with you. So I'll pull up my notes. That's more fucking exciting to me. Reform, healthcare, all the things that everybody says. I think what it is, I mean, even with, I think the main thing that was, I don't know if I should mix these two conversations or not, but probably the main thing is it needs to be advertised. The public would need to know about that there is a reform going on. We are aiming to reform, a bipartisan reform of blank. The public would need to be informed. Day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, day 9. I don't know if these are posters. I don't know if these are, things like this. I don't know if these are physical posters. I'd hope they'd be physical. Virtual posters. The public would need to be, it would need to be there's people, there's representatives, there's old representatives that sort of leave that work because it's just nothing that really gets done. It's all just let's see, like I said before, like powder, makeup, and wigs, or powder, wigs, and makeup. So I don't like these words dismantling or dismantling the system. We don't want to dismantle anything. You don't want to break it. Reforming. But this sort of this power that comes together between the citizen and the government, and arguably these ex-representatives that just don't do that anymore. They feel they speak on this. They say there's a problem, and there's historians that say there's a problem. There's authors that say there's a problem with Congress. There's I think the majority of people don't really. I don't pay attention to Congress. I did for a good maybe month. I saw that stuff with the bills. I saw how no progress was really being done. I made the little thing about we don't even have a calendar of the bills. We don't have a days of the tracking of the bills. We have a little bit of a tracking system of the house, from the House, to represent all the actions that were made. We have that, which is public, which is good, which is a right step in the right direction, but it's just not enough. So this sort of culmination of effort, and with advertising and making sure it's a public sentiment and a thing that's on the public's mind. Now this is, I don't know when this would be. Maybe this is a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. I don't know. I'm not saying for this to happen tomorrow or something. Who can do that? But I mean, I just don't think people, I don't know. I never knew what lobbying was until maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. So I just think people are generally pretty busy. This just happened too. And then I wanted to say something, and I guess that's sort of making it, I'm being transparent, I guess, with this, is it felt like they were trying to halt me in my brain. And I was saying about people very busy, and then I did mention in my mind internally something for them, something to them, something to their lens, a slight, a sarcastic slight that, now that I think about it, bothers me. So I dish it out to them. When I feel that they're sort of interfering, and I've documented that too. It only happens when they interfere in more ways than one. Again, this is all internal that's going on. So people are busy. They are they're running around. They don't. It's just not a part of, you don't see Congress is, where do you see Congress on C-SPAN? You hear about it sometimes in the news. That's kind of it. It's not like Congress is like down the street, or is like there's like bars turned to fucking C-SPAN. You know what I mean? Like the televisions are turned to C-SPAN or something, or everybody's like, hey, let's man, you gonna watch the C-SPAN? You gonna watch Congress tonight? You would actually hope that's hopefully what it would be like, to be honest with you. I would much rather that sort of future where they argue and deliberate and, with reason, but because I guess we've been, yeah, I don't want to get too into it. I don't want to get too into that one, but these are, I can't help but emphasize that these are the realities in which we live. People don't think about it until it happens. And then when it happens, it's usually not to you. So then people really don't think about it. But then it happens to you. But not to you. You see what I'm saying? The hand that it's like dealt happens to, all this stuff, and then it's like I don't know how to say it. It's like cancer, similar to cancer, or some sort of thing like this, where it's like, like, oh fuck, cancer is like, I have cancer, holy shit. Like, yep. Well, I didn't think about that. I didn't think I was ever going to get cancer, and I don't think people usually do. It's sort of like that. So I have cancer now. I'm gonna, I really want to advocate for cancer and a cure for cancer. Well, there's people earlier that have family that are affected with this. There are people that my family has cancer, so now I'm thinking about it. Or my mother died of cancer. Or my father died when I was young with cancer, so I'm thinking about that and holding that in my head the whole time. So it seems like the things that affect us, and but there are. It's not it sounds stupid, but it's not my point, I guess. I'll figure out my point. Maybe it's not in this recording here, but I'll figure out my point. That's what I'll think about. I'm gonna go think about that and see if I can figure out what I can figure out now. Let's see. Maybe nurses, something like this, where there just wasn't enough staff that day, so he died. He or she, whatever person you want to put in there. And then you're like hearing this, and you're like, oh, nurses. It's a hospital. There's always nurses. There's always going to be enough nurses. And then you start learning and looking. So looking at the nurses, and then you're, then maybe how do we do that? How do we make sure that there's enough nurses? How do we make sure that incentive is there? How do we make sure that their working conditions are adequate, or more than adequate? Here, then I go from somebody that didn't care about nursing, or didn't even think about nurses, and now I'm caring about nursing unions. So it's like stuff like this, and then so that with anything, with this sort of there's a lot of moving parts, and I do get this, but this idea with Congress, I think that's it. I mean, they will probably lose their jobs, or at least the reform, it may change things. Maybe you lower the wage for representatives, so then it's like really who actually wants to do it. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of changes that I'm not the fucking spokesperson for congressional reform. I'll tell you that much. But there's a lot more smarter people that can talk to you about it than I. So I'll leave you with that, I guess.